Good afternoon. Welcome back to the DSP for another episode. As always, I'm your host, Josh. Just something really quick that I wanted to bring up to everyone's attention on the Western New York Disc Golf Club Facebook page. It was noted that round 2 of the point series, which is coming up, that ESP might not, Elk Creek Park, sorry, I abbreviate ESP too much, due to the recent rainfall that we had, and we know how bad the drainage is at ESP, at the Elk Creek Park. So it's a little bit flooded. So Sam has made the announcement. Keep your eye on the Western New York Disc Golf Club page as they monitor that situation. If it's too flooded, that round 2 of Western New York Point Series we moved out to Joseph Davis, but no official decision has been made. So over the next couple days, couple weeks leading up to that tournament, please make sure you keep your eyes on the Western New York Disc Golf Club Facebook page. Sam will keep you all up to date, and then that way we're all set for round 2 of the point series. So, yeah. Also, has anyone else been noticing Goliath discs starting to become a thing? More recently than not, I've been noticing a lot more people throwing those discs. I've been noticing a lot of people wearing the shirts. Notice a few people here are on the team. So, yeah, been noticing that. Tristan Tanner is also bagging the chain breaker. I think that's what was posted up. So, yeah, so I've been noticing that. And so tonight's guest that we have is on the team. So, got a ton of questions for him about that, what the company is like, and yeah, definitely a company that got my attention. So, all right, let's bring him in. Let's see here. So we'll see if he can get it. The invite was sent, so now we just gotta wait as we just look at me awkwardly while we wait. Let's see, what is that? Okay, there we go. Actually, I'll bring him in because I'll hit the accept button. Still waiting. Do. Yeah. So, while we're waiting for the connection to happen, because I accepted it. So, let's see here. Yeah, I accepted it. Accept. So it says he's unable to join. Why? Oh, here we go. All right, finally. Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How about you? Was it easy to get the connection, or did it take?
No, but I'm also old though too. I was like, I got it. It was easy, but
Yeah.
in light of trying to be cool, I did my Dom Janky kind of impersonation here.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
So he's got the glasses, he's got the awesome kind of look. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm twice his age, so I got to go with these glasses here. Okay, much better, much better.
You can't be that old.
I'm 54.
No way. You definitely don't look it.
It's just my job. I'm a middle school and high school counselor. I'm going to tell you, those guys keep me young and keep me spry.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, let's kick this off. So, tell everybody about yourself. Who you are, past sports experiences, because it sounds like you'll have a lot of that. What got you into disc golf, and how long have you been playing for?
It's funny. I got a lot of experience because now it's established that I'm 54 years old, so there's a lot of experience there. So actually, I'm technically not really from this area, but really was raised in this area. My dad is actually born and raised in Kentucky, Tennessee border. My mom was originally from North Tonawanda. She actually went to Western Kentucky University, and they actually met in Kentucky. And my dad joined the service. So I was actually born in Florida, Pensacola, Florida, Naval Hospital. We lived in the Philippines shortly after that for about a year. Moved to Norfolk, Virginia, then lived in Kentucky, where I was there until about 6 or 7 years old, and then we moved to North Tonawanda to be closer to my mom's parents, my grandparents. So I've been up here since 77, 78. So pretty much my entire life, but a lot of the roots that I have is from down south, and I'm an only child. My mom's an only child, so as far as family, I don't really have much family up here except for my kids. I got two grown kids, 25-year-old son and a 23-year-old daughter. So I mean, they're basically the age of Don Janky, to be honest with you. So that's why it's kind of funny, because he actually looks and acts much older. He's a very mature young man, which is really cool to get to know him. So I swam and dove in college and high school. I was an all Western New York diver and swimmer, and an all Western and actually all SUNYAC, or top 10 diver at the SUNYACs my freshman year. Played a little tennis, and kind of got into disc golf. Actually, in a weird way, I've always been drawn towards like individual sports, but it was I don't know, it was about 5 years ago or so, and I'm remarried. My wife said, "Oh, I gotta do something with Jordan today," which is my stepson, and I'm like, "All right." Like she's like, "It's noon." I'm like, "Is it too early to call?" I'm like, "No, it's not too early to call. Like, get him up. We got stuff to do." So she calls, and I hear her talking, and she's like, "You're doing what?" He's like, "I'm playing disc golf." I'm like, "Where's he playing disc golf? What like disc golf?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm over at Ellicott Creek Park." I'm like, "Where is there a course in Ellicott Creek Park?" And I'm trying to like conceptualize, Ellicott Creek. I've driven by it many times on Niagara Falls Boulevard, and I'm like, "Tell him we'll be there, because I want to check this out. I want to see what's up with this." So I think he was on hole 17, and he's just tossing around, and I'm like, "Can I try?" He's like, "Yeah, go ahead." So I kind of watched him for a moment or two, and threw it. Of course, I hit a tree. And he kind of made a comment about that, like, "Yeah, there you go. You're gonna ruin my disc for me." I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So, and he's like, "Well, you got some skill." Like, I'm like, "All right, like, where do you get these things?" He goes, "I just go on Amazon and download, or I grab a starter pack." I'm like, "Okay." So starter pack comes basically like the next day, because it's Amazon, of course. So I give him a call. I'm like, "Hey, I got my disc." He goes, "Let's go out and play at Ellicott Creek. I'll meet you at 3:30. I'm like, "Okay." We played around. I couldn't tell you how I played. It was just fun. He's like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I'm like, "Nothing. I'll meet you out after work again." So next day, and probably like 3 or 4 days in a row, just got out and played. And holy cow! Like, obviously, that was I want to say October 2020. And I got to say, like, obviously it just, you know how it is. It's an obsession, and it just kind of like just turned. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, once you start, it's like a bag of chips. Once you start, you just can't stop.
Yeah, it's funny because you say the bag, because even with the bag, like I almost was like, I'm not gonna buy a disc golf bag. I'm not gonna be one of those guys. So I just had like a regular backpack with like 5 discs in it, and sure enough, like my wife, she's one of 8, which is really cool. So there's a huge side on that family. So we just do an exchange, and it's like a $50 gift. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy a bag for myself. Now, again, this is my mentality, 5 years ago. I'm not going to buy a bag for myself, but I'll have somebody else buy the bag for me. So I got it that's what I wanted, dynamic dish trooper bag, and I got it for Christmas, and actually gifted that bag to Rocket, Tommy the Rocket, just because he was complaining about a bag. I'm like, "Here, you can have this one." Like, I now have like 5 bags. But anyway, I just kind of gave him that bag, so he still uses that bag today. But I got that bag, and then it was one of the pastors that I play with. He's like, "Hey, I got a disc golf number." I'm like, "Oh." I'm going to have to get a disc golf number too then. So, of course, you get the disc golf number. So I got a PDGA number. And then obviously it just kind of gets to, oh, MVP. Oh, gyro box. Oh, this. And then suddenly it's just like, it explodes. I mean, obviously I think it's almost every single person's story.
Yeah. So how did you get drawn to Goliath discs?
Basically, that whole thing is kind of a neat story. I'll say this: I'm also a Christian, so I can see how God kind of works in a lot of different ways with regards to just making connections and even like friendships, just in general. Just it's the disc golf community is a beautiful community as far as like friendships and fellowship. But I ended up some guy had an upper park bag and was getting rid of it. Actually, it's this bag right here, and his name was Elijah Holder. And I reached out, and I think he was trying to get rid of it for like $90 or something like that. I shot him a message, and he's like, "Are you interested in some discs too?" I'm like, "Sure." So he kind of went through, and he probably gave me about 30 discs in the bag for about $200. And as we got talking back and forth, I was kind of like, are you a Christian? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, because I'm wondering like why are you getting like this? I'm like, why are you getting rid of all these discs? He's like, well, I'm a member of this Goliath disc. I'm like, what's Goliath disc? And he kind of got talking and everything, and he said like, here, let me shoot you an application and check it out and and apply. And that was April of 2023. So I think at the time they only had three discs. They had the Genesis, the Gyra, and the Enoch. And so I applied, and I was probably one of the first, probably 30 or so guys, guys and girls on the team. And I think now we're probably close to 200 people.
Nice. Yeah, I've been noticing that they're growing pretty fast.
They are. They absolutely are. I could off the top of my head, I probably should have done a little bit of work, but I'm going to say they have at least probably 3 putters, probably 5 mid ranges, probably about 4 or 5 fairway drivers, and probably about 3 or 4 distance drivers. I mean, they have a full collection. It's very rare that they haven't like kind of met that slot just yet.
Yeah. So, being on their team, how much their disc do you have to be 100% their disc, or are you able to be kind of open?
Yeah, Josh Battizi, who's the owner of Goliath Disc, he doesn't want to force. He's not really about necessarily the disc per se. I mean, he's more about family and kind of getting to know each other, supporting one another, and being a true team kind of thing. So he's obviously he wants you to play with the disc and he wants you to enjoy them and love them, and I think that's why the people are there, because it's not pushy whatsoever. So he wants you to carry at least 50%, but he's not forcing you to go 100%. But most of the probably upper level pro tournament are probably pushing close to 100%.
Okay. We have a question in by Dom. It says, Scott, have you ever played a tournament where the location of the event was actually your first time playing it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's stupid. It's stupid. Probably the first 3 tournaments that I played, the first one was actually, I think, the Spring Fling in Wilson. And then I ended up playing an MVP Satellite Open in Moraine State Park in Pennsylvania. For the first time ever, just in like, okay, like I don't know the layout here, and it's just like, oh geez. It didn't play well, of course. I literally lost, I think, 2 discs. It was a 2-round tournament. I think I lost a disc each round. Not only did I get a penalty for like it flying out of bounds, but I got a penalty because I couldn't find the disc either. And still to this day, like I've never gotten a phone call saying, "Hey, we found your disc." I literally lost 2 discs on that course. The other one I played was fascinating. It's not fascinating, but was Murray, Kentucky, Western Kentucky. It's near Murray State, and that was called Fear and Loathing, and it was a 2-round tournament. And what I liked about this course is it has one tee pad for every single hole, but it has a yellow basket and a red basket for each hole. So two pins for every hole. And so as I'm kind of like, signed up for the tournament, happy to be down there visiting my cousins, visiting family. It's they're playing holes 19 through 27. Now I played 1 through 18. I had no idea that there was a 19 through 27. So that was my first time playing that. And I took second in that to a kid out of Nashville. And I could kick myself because it was a weird kind of hole. So again, you're playing 9 holes. You throw one time once through the yellow baskets and then once to the reds. Again, same tee pad. Break for lunch, and you come back and go the 9 holes for the yellow, 9 holes for the red. Well, I ended up throwing. So you're throwing from each tee pad 4 times for the day. Mm-hmm. So one of the holes, I couldn't tell you what hole it was, but I ended up throwing. I think it was a drift, axiom drift, and I literally parked it halfway between the yellow hole and the red hole. And I'm thinking, man, okay, so I'm actually shooting for the yellow hole, but man, that's a great shot for the red hole. So that when I come back around to shoot for the red hole, I'm going to do the same shot, man. It's going to be perfect. It'll be awesome. Well, I knew that was relatively close to like kind of nipping at this kid's heels with regards to the score. This was prior to like everybody keeping score for everybody else. So basically at that time, it was just you report your score. One person's kind of, keeping scores. I didn't literally have my phone keeping score for that. So this kid hits a tree, it goes out of bounds, and it's just like a huge tree line. So he doesn't even have a shot to kind of get back into the fairway. Like it's going to be like a lucky shot, just kind of getting himself like in any kind of position. So he's probably 3 out, hitting 3. He's probably going to get a 5 or 6 on this hole. And literally all I have to do is just kind of get it out into the fairway. So again, one of the things I hate about disc golf that I'm learning and I'm appreciating is I don't like having lessons like as you're playing a tournament. Like I'd rather just know ahead of time, like, hey, don't do that. Like just don't try the home run shot. So I throw that shot thinking I already did it once. I know I can do it again. So what did I do? Same exact thing he did. Hit a tree and flew out of bounds. And I lost to him by a stroke.
Oh.
A stroke.
Dang.
Yeah. And I was like, and that's kind of like, when I look at most of my singles tournament history, and it's not long. I mean, it's maybe like 9 tournaments. Second place seems to be, I feel like the Bills, like just second place. Like I've never won it.
Yeah.
Just second place. So
yeah. So do you like playing more like sanctioned tournaments or kind of like more leagues?
I don't like sanctioned tournaments. This year I do. I finally got a couple 900 rated rounds, which is really, really, really cool. But I'll tell you, last year, point series number 2 was at Wilson, and I couldn't even tell you what I shot. I remember my rating, and I get real kind of like antsy about my rating. At the time I was around like an 850. And I was like overly concerned about a number. I'm like, and to be honest, I don't know how many people are paying attention to each other's number. Probably very little. But I was getting like overly sensitive with like my number. Like I want my number to be like, I was like, so I called my wife and she's like, how'd you do? I'm like, I'm done. Like I suck. Like I'm horrible. She's like, what happened? I'm like, I shot like an 815 rating. I don't know what that means. I'm like, it's like 5 or 6 shots or more below what I should be playing at. I should be shooting like should have got maybe like a +6 on it, and I ended up getting like a +15, whatever it was. But I'm just like, I'm done. And as I'm like talking to her, I literally signed up for the point series number 3, and it's because I basically just get this nudge to say, stop whining, and just go ahead and just sign up and just don't doesn't matter. It's just do it. Stop.
Yeah. I used to be like very uptight about my rating, and then it like this off season I really stopped and thought about it. It's like nobody really cares. Your rating doesn't open up some magic doors and you don't have to earn. Like you could just jump up to like any division you want at
Right.
any time. Like you could be 700 rated, pay the extra 15, $20 and be MPO. So that's why I was like rating really doesn't matter. So why should I care anymore?
Yeah, absolutely,
So
absolutely. And a compliment that I've gotten is, because people ask me like what my rating is, and I'm like, well, this like, well, you don't play that way. I'm like, okay, so sometimes my wife even just kind of says, she's like, all right, so they look at your rating and they're gonna like underestimate you then if they don't know you're playing. I'm like, well, that's a good point, but I do like the competitive aspect of things.
yeah. Yeah, so I take it you won't be playing Wilson anytime soon, huh?
Oh, I love to play Wilson again. I'm okay with it. I played in the league. The question was like, I don't like sanction as much just because I'm enjoying it more so
Yeah.
now. But I got to tell you, like leagues are fun. Leagues are a blast. Um, I came in first with the tripping with the Dizzle. So it was the three-man roster, and that's a blast because like you don't have like it's not all on you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just kind of enjoy yourself. The random doubles, I got into that a couple years ago, and that is an absolute blast. In fact, the very first time, I don't even know how it came across that. I'm sure someone just kind of said like, hey, you should play the doubles kind of thing. So I ended up playing with Will Shooter was my partner. Because again, I show up and Jimmy Carmen. Jimmy's a great guy. I love Jimmy.
Yes, he
Um,
is.
and Jimmy just kind of was like, what's your rating? And I kind of said, and he goes, well, you A pool, B pool. And I'm like, I was my first time out here. Like I'm like at the time I'm like probably like an 840 whatever. So he turns around and goes, okay, we'll put you B pool. So it's me and Will Shooter, and we're on the same card as Norm Klonsky and Dom Janke. So we get to hole 11, and I can see he's kind of posting things on there. Someone's
Yes,
posting
he
things
is.
about. So I take a crave and kind of hyzer flex this crave, and it was I aced it. Hole 11, I got an ace. It was a CTP, and it was the ace. And I don't even know if it hit chains, and they'll probably tell you that it didn't even hit chains. Norman's like, that's the softest ace I've ever heard.
Probably dropped right in.
Yeah, but I
Those
mean
ones are nice.
that's a long shot. So I mean, and I gotta tell you, like that's probably one of the hardest holes, even just to like for me to kind of get down with like what do I throw here? Because most of the time I'm throwing it and it's going over towards 12's tee pad. I'm like, oh, I hate this hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up getting closest to the pin, and it was an ace. Joe Hammerstein, got a he got an ace the same day too. So we basically kind of split the pot. But I think the next time we played was it might have been 2 weeks after that is when we got the payout. And that's when Greg Barbsby was at Pine Woods. So I used some of my money to buy some Barbsby stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, from that point on, Norm just, continues to call me a sandbagger. So
That's not a bad thing.
no, it isn't. It
Yeah.
isn't.
So that's pretty cool getting an ace. I've yet to still get one, so maybe
Well,
someday.
if you and I keep on playing Pine Woods, it should happen at some point soon.
Pine Woods forever. Like small, short courses kick my butt. Like I can't.
Really?
I don't have power control, so I overshoot everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have that kind of got to work on that touch a little bit. Backhand, work on that backhand. I think the backhand will kind of help you with that touch a little bit. Forehand, it's tough to. You really kind of got to get that disc going, and I think forehand you can't hold back on that shot. So the backhand you can kind of work a little more finesse there.
Yeah, the backhand is just full power. Like there's no finesse in that at all yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So what kind of coverage do you watch? Do you watch any type of coverage during the week, or are you just kind of just the type of guy that just goes out and plays?
I just really enjoy playing. I will say that there was periodically I'll kind of watch some videos. I did I forgot what the name of the company that has like the videos where you can the teaching videos.
Mhm.
Power Up, is it Power Up?
Power Academy maybe or
Power
something.
Academy, yeah, Power Academy. So they were had like a big sale on that, and so I'm like, I bought that. I kind of went through a little bit of it just to kind of maybe get some tips and stuff like that. But I haven't been, religiously kind of going through that. But I will say that I kind of mentioned Greg Barbsby, and he and I will kind of like shoot back and forth a little bit with on Instagram, kind of texting each other a little bit here and there. But I will say that just playing, I've played part of a round with him, probably about 11 out of the 18 holes. That was the 18 holes back then, and just kind of watch that straddle putt, and just kind of how he did, like using like 12 speed. He used a Scorpius for one of the holes on a forehand, and did kind of like a skip hyzer, and kind of got it close to the basket. And I was kind of like just watching those kind of things, and like okay, like so I don't have to use like certain discs for like it opened up like a creativity that was like, okay, this is cool. Like, okay, so I can work on this putt kind of thing, because my putting up till then was just atrocious. So I started working on the straddle putt, and just kind of incorporated that into my game. So I think for me, sometimes it's just kind of working on things, and just continually just kind of just kind of practice and figure stuff out. But not so much videos or watching the play, but it's fascinating to see how these discs fly, and how I mean, it's so much beautiful technique that these guys have, that you're just like, you don't have to like power these things to get these things to fly well. Almost like with real golf, you try to hit the crap out of that ball, like it's gone. Like it goes to left or right. And I'm finding the same thing with regards to to playing disc golf. It's like you keep yourself under control, and just get a nice throw in, and that disc will go nicely for you.
Yeah, that was one of the things. Like for my backhand last year, I was trying to power it, and then this offseason, I watched how Ricky Wysocki keeps it close to his body and uses his wrist
Yep.
in his follow through, and that's where it all comes from, is his wrist. So I started doing that, and now all of a sudden I get good distance just because it's smooth and it adds spin to the disc, so
Right.
it allows it to go further.
It kind of
I thought that was fascinating.
It kind of talks about like the levers. So you got like your shoulder, you got your elbow, and then it kind of pops through with your wrist. He's like, it's just old timer. I couldn't even tell you his name, but I watched the video, and he said it's like the whip. It's like a whip kind of thing, and I'm like, okay, all right, yeah. So you just kind of grace under pressure kind of thing, just kind of nice and easy, and then you just kind of get that hit real hard at the end.
Yeah.
But again, you got to keep it under control.
Yeah, because if you don't, it goes all over the place real
Yeah,
quick.
or it's an easy, or it's the release is too soon, and you're like, okay, so sometimes you got to like, okay, if I'm going to do that, I got to adjust my my aim maybe a little more to the right, and then if it's an early release, it's going to come out like probably close to where I was kind of hoping it to go if I really wanted to kind of like give it some more gas.
Yeah. So, when you're playing, have you ever heard the term tee box geometry?
Yeah.
Okay, is that something that you use? Because this is something that I just recently heard about, and I'm like, huh, how the heck do you use this to your play, like to your game? Because like I've always backhand where I just look at an object and I just go for it.
Yeah, I think I definitely. I don't know the whole. I don't really know the whole science in regards to. I've heard the whole T-box geometry. I probably don't know the whole science to it, but definitely know that how my feet are, and how I'm lined up, definitely makes a big difference. And I can will figure out as I'm on the back of the tee box to kind of figure out my shot, and kind of visualize my shot, to kind of figure out how to kind of approach where I want to kind of go, and how I want to kind of maybe not be too far to the right or too far to the left kind of thing. So that does make a huge difference. Andy Duplisky basically said to me one time, because I came like, so if the ball marker's here, I was standing over here and walked sideways to shoot that way. And he's like, I've never seen anybody kind of walk sideways up and then throw it to like that. I said, I don't know, it's just comfortable.
Yeah.
But then sometimes like I don't really want to think about like, why are you doing it that way? Because then all of a sudden you're kind of like thinking about how I'm walking up sideways as opposed to like just doing it and just kind of, figuring it out.
Yeah. So the final question I have for you tonight is, is your goals in disc golf, like in your personal game and growing the sport?
I was actually thinking about that. I actually got out to Outwater today, and I'm thinking about goals. And working as a middle school and high school counselor, I've always been. This is just a weird pet peeve of mine. I don't like goals, and I don't know why. But it just like, and maybe because I don't know. I'm fascinated by it. I mean, just like my brain has been basically working the entire day, yet I really have come up with a firm answer here. I've never been really goal driven, but I've always been kind of keen on just continue to kind of improving. I mean, I didn't even graduate, let's say, like top half of my high school class. I was yeah, I don't know why I remember this, but I was like 213 out of 427 or something like that. So barely, maybe not even top half. But I ended up like earning like 2 master's degrees just because like I just found something I enjoyed learning, and I just kind of just went in that direction. But as far as goals, and I take a step back, especially with disc golf. I didn't know 900 was like getting a 900 rating was going to be one of my goals. It really wasn't a goal, but I got it. I'm not shooting for 1,000. That would be insane. But like I don't really need to like maybe push myself to get like, oh, I got to get 950. Oh, I got to get a rating of this. Oh, I got to get, because I don't want to not enjoy the game. Um, I did have a goal this year, and I'm rethinking it. I wanted to win the random doubles like point series this year, and I would have won it last year, not even realizing that I was even like a contender for it until I kind of saw like my name was kind of like towards the top, and then it was the top, and it was the very last week, and Jimmy Carmen, asked me if I was going to show up for the last. I think it was at ECP, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I have an open house. Like of all the days for my school to have an open house, I'm also the director of school of my department. So I'm a director of guidance there also. Been working as a school counselor for 31 years, that's flown by. So I couldn't blow it off. I couldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to play disc golf. Like I'm not coming to this. I mean, I wouldn't lose my job, but wouldn't look good.
Yeah.
So I told Jimmy, I go, hey, listen, I can't make it. And obviously I can't play a different day. Just give me a random person. I'll go out there and play around, because obviously it's got to be that night in that competition. And Jimmy was just like, dude, all you had to do was just show up, and you would have won. He goes, but because you can't show up, he's I'm gonna win. And I was like, okay. He goes, this feels like so cheap. He goes, like you would have won. I'm like, well, I appreciate that, and actually, I we you deserved it too. I mean, you played great the entire year also. But it was just really, really kind of him, and very humble of him to just say, listen, I can admit that you would have won this, but because you didn't show up, like it kind of feels like a cheap win for me. But obviously for the entire year, I mean, he performed really well. So my goal was this year, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going after it. I'm going to do it. But then I stepped back and I'm like, it just seems awfully prideful. Like just to be like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to beat everybody. and I'm just going to continue and like take no names, and I'm going to do this. And then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, just go out there and play. Just enjoy yourself. Like like there's no reason to start, making this like, because the game is so fun, first and foremost. Second, I don't want to see like friends that I'm playing with as being like cutthroat and I got to beat these guys. I just rather just, hey, I'm going to play. Let's have fun. And I'm going to take it serious, but I'm not going to take it too serious. And I think that's where I think goals kind of like step back a little bit and like, I don't want to take this too serious. But I do have a couple of like minor goals. I played 111 weeks in a row. My goal was just to get like 2 years in, and I didn't even realize that I could even play in the wintertime. A couple seasons ago, I was like, I guess I'll have to take off like January, February, and then Fetterman had the Wizards for winter. I was like, I guess we can play in the wintertime. So I ended up playing in the wintertime and enjoying that Wizards for winter, and so I just kept on playing. I would find at least one day that week where I can get myself out. And Pine Woods Park is the perfect spot to just get out there,
Yep.
spend 15 minutes, throw the 12 holes, get your round in, and then just kind of continue on and just hope that that it's that you can get out there the following week. I do want to get. I always want to kind of beat my rounds each year. So I think last year I got out maybe 300 times. So I want to beat that this year. I want to probably get another 10 or 12 new courses. I've played since joining UDisc in fall of 2020. So basically I've been playing for 5 years. I've got 59 courses that I've played. I'm at about 860 rounds. And I've played got a round in Canada before going to a Yankees-Jays game at Bronte Park. So I'm going to play a couple more times in Canada. I played in New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, of course, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida. I got down for a Bills game a few years ago when Tom Brady and Gronkowski were playing at Tampa Bay. My buddies and I got down there to play. We want to go to a Bills game. We ended up staying just down the street from a place called Picnic Island, which was a really neat disc golf course, and right on the beach and everything else like that. So it was beautiful. So I'm playing one morning, and some kid just kind of warned me that there was like a league going on, and just say, hey, you want to jump over to hole this and this and this, and we'll jump back over to this hole. I'm like, sure. And I'm like, yeah, just got talking. I'm like, I'm in for the Bills game. And he goes, oh, the Buffalo Bills. He goes, yeah. And I said, I go, yeah, I'm from Buffalo. He's like, oh, I'm from Depew. I was like, of course you are. Like, of course you go down to Florida. And he lives in like Jupiter, Florida. So I'm like, oh, so Mr. Scott and Mr. Colbert. He goes, yeah, they were my teachers. I'm like, yeah, they were, they're related to me. And he's like, that's wild. I mean, again, the camaraderie that you have with just kind of like getting to know people is awesome. And even traveling, like just you're on a drive somewhere, and you're like, all right, UDisc, like that course is a few minutes off the the beaten path, and like, okay, I can go play for a round, and then I'll jump back on and continue my travel. So it's awesome to do that. At one point, you could see like, here's Buffalo, and straight across you can see like where I ended to go to my cousin's house. So it was like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and it's like a straight line. And now I've kind of
Cool.
Now I've kind of gotten all over the place, and I've actually like gone a little out of the way to like drive over to Lexington, Kentucky, and I played a few courses over there, and then kind of then cut back and everything. And I've done some ministry work in Tennessee, and there's a course near Johnson City, so I got out there to mess around at. And it's just the courses, I think, and that's probably it. Just the goal is probably just to explore, continue to improve my game, If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. I did get my first career win at the point series number one. I shot a phenomenal round and came one of one.
Nice. There you
I
go.
was the only one that signed up for MA40.
That
Yeah,
works out pretty well.
it does. It does. Now I did kind of come home and my wife's like, she's like, of course you won. I'm like, I know, but if I would have like signed up for MA3, I would have been tied for first. So technically, I would have had another career win. But I will 100% admit, knowing that I was MA40, I was the only one signed up for the point series. I knew I was going to win, so there was no pressure. I still felt a little pressure, if you throw a bad, throw or something like that at Outwater. But I didn't feel like knowing that the people on my card, like I was, like I was competing against them, and like, holy cow, they're ahead of me by a couple strokes, or they're like, there was no pressure in that regard. So I played a little more calm, and it gave me a little more confidence to understand that being one of one, like I can just play and not necessarily worry about my score versus the other score. I ended up carrying a couple. I think it was MA2 players I played against, and I beat one, and I think the other one beat me by a stroke. But I held the box for probably a good half the round, which I thought was really kind of neat. And just playing with people that were technically better than me, but performing better. But for point series number two, which I heard you say that it might not be at ECP, it could be somewhere else. There is someone who signed up for MA40, and I think he has an overall rating of like 930, and I know he's a good player. I've seen him play,
Yeah.
so I'm sure. So again, so maybe it's just all right. I'm guaranteed a second if nobody else signs up, and I know I'm not going to beat him. So it should just be like, hey, just play your game, as you always should. Just play your game.
Yeah. So cool. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's
Yeah,
definitely good having you on.
I got a couple questions for you. Did you find your disc at Wilson?
I still have no idea which one I'm missing.
So you just knew your bag was lighter,
Yeah,
huh?
it was loose.
And you kind of mentioned, because I invited you out to play today, and you said you wanted like a day of rest. So how do you go about like prepping for like your tournaments and your
I just do it the way that I've always done sports, like running track. You always like 2 days before a meet you had a light day, and then you had a day of rest before a meet, and then you'd go compete, and then the day after is another day of rest, and then you go back into training. So I kind of just loop my disc golf around what I know.
yeah?
So leading up to it, I do a light day of like maybe just tossing the putter in the basket, and then the day before just a complete day of rest, and then that's it.
Any other things you do in regards to like just prepping for a tournament?
I weight train and run throughout the week, do field work, putting, and then I do a couple of practice rounds.
What's your strategy on the practice round?
Just go out there and have fun. Just that there's really no because it teaches you to not put pressure on yourself through each shot, and then if you have a bad hole, oh well, it happens.
Right. You don't kind of go through and kind of figure out like what shot you're gonna do for every hole.
No, because most of these courses I played a million times, so I know what I should be doing. But during practice rounds, I'll just go out there and just try something new, something different, and just kind of have fun with it.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, like I just because that's kind of a fascinating thing. Because one of the things that I try to do is because I don't want to overthink, especially tee shots. So there's a relative kind of like a game plan that I have in regards to like, okay, hole one for this particular hole, this is what I'm gonna do, and like this is about where I should land, or, and just kind of have a little bit of a game plan. Obviously, you should have that rescue kind of thing. We're like, all right, if it hits a tree or goes off, like with all the practicing and the shots that you take, you kind of should know like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do for that kind of shot in regards to a short, hyzer, kind of landed at the bottom of the basket, doing that rescue kind of thing. But I think for me, I was just trying to figure out, like, what do I do just to kind of like, so I don't have to overthink and just kind of like just be in the moment and just, either, talking, hanging out, whatever. And I don't have to overly think about, oh, what do I do here? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed. Like Chris Higgins, I do a lot of rounds with him, and
Yeah,
that
he's
was
good.
one. Yeah, that was one of the things that he knew I struggled with last year was I'd have a bad shot or a bad hole, and my whole tournament would tank after that. So then he started doing these just like fun rounds with me, and then started like showing me that basically one bad hole will not blow up a whole tournament for you, so you can't let it bother you.
Right.
So that
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, I noticed Chris Dickerson one time, who I want to say he won the tournament, and I think first hole, first shot, he threw out of bounds. And I'm thinking like, holy cow! Like, and I know I know he was going to win it, just because I happened to like rewatch it, and I was like, okay, like he blew a hole right off the get go, and he was still able to kind of recover. One of the kids I was playing with at Sanction for Science, um, and he took a first, I took a second, of course. He ended up throwing the disc. It was hole one, but it was probably maybe like our 15th hole or so. He threw a disc, and that sucker flew right into the road and hit an old Jaguar as it was
yeah.
driving by.
So I heard that when we were teeing off on the next hole. My car turned around like, what was that?
Yeah, and that bugger still won. And like those are the kind of things I have to remember. Like he had a blow up hole. I gained a stroke or two on him to because I was in a groove at that point. Right off the first hole, I ended up getting a bogey on a relatively easy shot, relatively easy up shot. Kind of blew both of them, blew a putt. Ended up getting a bogey on the very first hole. He birdied the very first hole, so he had a -1. I had a +1 going into the second hole, and from that point on, he and I shot even for the rest of the round. So he beat me by those two strokes. But it's just interesting to know, like again, like he had that bad shot and still was able to kind of win. And those are the kind of things you have to kind of remember, that you can have that, just make a couple putts, make a couple shots. But I think having that mentality to like, I have to make up for that, is where I think I get myself in trouble, as opposed to let it go and let's just move on and play the shot that you have, and not try to make up and go harder on that shot, or go, oh, home run shot for this, because I gotta park this one, so you don't park it.
Yeah.
So I think that's where, when you kind of mentioned about the goals kind of thing, like I don't want the goals to supersede the purity of the sport, and what we're trying to accomplish with just enjoying a competitive sport.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. That was also something that I've been working with Jimmy Ray on, because he struggles mentally. Like, he's a good player, but when it comes to a tournament, he struggles a little bit. So I've always been working with him, trying to tell him, dude, bad shots are going to happen. You're going to shank drives. Everyone does. That's why we're amateurs. We're not on the tour. You're going to have blow up holes. It happens. You just got to learn how to just let it go and just get back onto your game plan and just keep going.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I think the other thing is, in thinking, is how you play casual rounds, and I had a hard time kind of understanding this, isn't necessarily how you play tournament rounds. In tournament rounds, you rethink it and just kind of play for par. Um, excuse me. Casual rounds is when you can kind of be like, all right, I can go for that shot, or I can, if I get a bogey on it, whatever. Or you go for that putt and see, and then like, oh, I missed it. Now I missed the comeback putt. But in a tournament, sometimes you're like, all right, like this is way too far for me to get that home run,
yep.
eagle, that home run birdie. So let me just kind of just toss it to the bottom of the net, or bottom of the basket, and then I'll just, tap it in for my par or whatever, as opposed to like, oh, I got to go for this. I got to get this, like get another stroke. And then suddenly you're like, all right, I missed. And now I got an additional stroke because I didn't get the comeback. And now I got a bogey as opposed to a par.
Yeah. Yeah, during tournament play, I am conservative and I play smart. But casual play, like I'll do super aggressive shots because it really doesn't matter.
Right. And the same thing even with the random doubles is the same kind of thing. My partner kind of gets a decent shot. All right, let's get crazy. I'm gonna try to really kind of see what I can do, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, we're still in a pretty decent shot to maintain par. So it's fun to kind of mess around that way too, as opposed to putting all the pressure just on that singles.
Yeah. So cool. Any more questions, or is that's all you got?
What's your favorite disc?
My favorite disc is my Saki Bomb Felons, which is right up there. I got a whole collection of them. That's my go-to for all my flex forehand. That's what I'm known for throwing because that's my major shot. So
Jeremy would probably kill me for saying this, but I got to go with the Berg. I just love the Berg. The Berg. Oh. Yeah, nice. That's probably one of my favorites, just because it's a fun thing to throw. But I gotta say, where is it? The arc, the Goliath arc.
Yeah.
So this is an understable fairway, which is a lot of fun to throw. And I got to show you. You're probably more beefy, more forehand, aren't you?
Yes, I throw all beef. I throw nothing understable.
All right, because I was going to give you a Goliath Enoch.
Yeah.
But it's a fairway driver, 8-speed. But this is a beefy 5-speed, and I'm gonna gift this to you. So it's a real beefy 5-speed. You can kind of see the nice little flatness of that.
That's gonna be nice. Yeah.
So this is for you, my friend.
All right. Sweet. Thank you.
Absolutely. And the other thing I can mention is if anyone does want to kind of check out Goliath Disc, I do have a discount code that I can kind of pass along.
Yeah, share it.
And it's just my last name is MINTON, Minton 10. And you just put that in the discount code and you get 10% off.
Perfect. There you guys go.
And it's goliathdisc.com. So,
yeah.
If you got questions, you can reach out to me, obviously.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right. That's all I got. All right.
I'll see you out there. We'll get out soon.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Take care. God bless.
Yep, you too. God bless. Bye.